Hi, my name is Divya Deswal and I'm here at Zaazen Wellness for the Natural Mama campaign with Vitality Hours by Antidote. And with me are...
I'm Prashant.
I'm Swati.
I'm sure.
I'm Sakshi. And we are in conversation to say pregnancy isn't just about women. There are fathers, and they are fathers right from the beginning, and how we can bring them into this conversation, especially with nuclear families and fathers who want to be involved with parents, with their children's lives. So let's begin, and let's start with you, Prashant, and say that how do you feel the information coming your way, and what was the quality of that information once everybody discovered that your wife was pregnant?
Well, I think there was an overload of information as soon as we realized that we were pregnant, because anyone we would tell that we were pregnant would have their 2 cents of advice to give us. So I thought it was overbearing to begin with, but we kind of had to filter it all out, and I think there was just a whole lot of information about fatherhood and being pregnant on the internet as well. So.
And did that feel kind of personal and integrated, the information about fatherhood, or was that just advice saying you will not have enough sleep, or you're going to lose your wife?
To be honest, it was just advice about the fact that these things are going to change as soon as we deliver.
And did it feel like it was going to change for better, or it was a little bit overwhelming?
It was a little bit overwhelming.
So we know that that's how it is mostly. Was that your experience as well?
Yes, most of the information was like misleading.
And I know that you have a 3-month-old daughter now.
Yes,
Do you think that was true?
No, not really. Because now she sleeps throughout the night. I think she wakes up only twice. And I was told, रातें खराब हो जाएंगी, मतलब पूरी रात आँखें लाल हो जाएंगी, nothing like that. And
how do you feel your connection with your daughter is now?
see, now she started reacting. So every time I call her name, she smiles back. So it feels very nice. If she's crying, I pick her up, she's just quiet. So it feels great when she's quiet. I feel, yes!
So I'm going to ask you a question, stepping back from there, saying that, do you feel that this interaction, I would say, is also because of what you did in the period where she didn't recognize you, or early period or pregnancy, that you build a relationship to this point, or did it just develop when she became 3 months?
No, it does make a difference. I was involved in our pregnancy. I used to talk to the child, the unborn child, as in when she was in her womb, I used to talk to her. And then when she was born, I held her for like 15-20 minutes. She wasn't there, but I was with her. So I think that all these things make a lot of difference.
So there's a relationship right from the
Yes.
beginning. There's a person who's relating on one-on-one basis.
Yes.
Okay. How do you feel about that? You also feel that there is a relationship going on?
I think so. I mean, I know once we deliver, but I've been a part of I feel I've been a part of the pregnancy since the very beginning.
And how do you see your role in that pregnancy?
Well, it's mostly been a supportive role, to be honest, because of course she's the one doing all the hard work, right? And
She being the baby.
She being the baby and the mother. So it's mostly been a supportive role so far, and it'll of course be a very active role as soon as our baby is here. So yeah, we've been very active.
So do you feel that you are instinctively talking to the baby and touching the baby, and there's a conversation with another person going on?
Absolutely.
And have you also tried doing that as well?
I have.
And how does that feel?
It felt different because I was talking to
In the beginning, honestly, it was feeling very different.
Yeah.
Especially for
Yeah.
him also.
Yeah.
But now that he can actually see the baby moving.
And that I think made a big difference. The first ultrasound is what made a
Yeah.
big difference to me, where we for the first time saw our baby, and
Yeah.
that I think was quite emotional as well.
Yeah.
But it was amazing.
Yes. So do you also feel that when you talk to the baby at the end of the day and touch, she responds? Maybe with a movement, there's a special name for her, something going on like that?
Not really. No.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
So, as a mom who's pregnant and seeing all these changes, how do you feel about his interaction and his involvement in the pregnancy?
Oh, he's been great.
And how does that make you feel as in?
Amazing, because I have seen a lot of women whose husbands are not very supportive and are not there for everything. So he's never missed an appointment, whether or not we go dentists. So whether or not there is a patient, whether once I had an emergency, I had to rush to the hospital, my family, my parents and my sister were there, but he just left in an instant. So so all those things come, of course.
Of course they do. How about you? How did you feel his involvement in the pregnancy? And
I think it was great. He was also very, very particular. So once I remember, I said, I think you're too busy with your work, so I think I can go, So I think you can manage your work. He's like, no, I'm coming. And he rushed from the work and he was just here, picked up an auto. He thought that picking up the car and parking would be too much, it would be time consuming. So he just rushed to the hospital and like, and finally I'm here.
Yeah,
so that
great.
was kind of this thing that he's really involved and he wants to be part of each and every appointment, each and every ultrasound, no matter how it is. And I think it continues till now. So when the baby's born, when they go to the doctor, pediatrician as well.
so we do realize that fathers are really interested in being there for their wives, being there, being supportive. It's the norm now. However, I'd like to ask if you feel that our interactions, as in our classes here and the education part that we've done, the interactions, have they made a difference to your role, how you see yourself,
A lot.
pregnancy and birth and then
A
postpartum?
lot.
It opened my eyes actually.
Yeah.
Matlab, it widened my horizon, you can say. All the myths were cleared.
Yeah.
जो लोग बोलते हैं ऐसा होता है ऐसा नहीं होता है मतलब I can state examples also कि मतलब it was great attending these classes has made a lot of difference.
Got a lot of confidence
So you
as
think
a
education
parent.
is important, you'd say that. If you'd say one thing to
Yeah.
dad saying, get educated.
Yes.
Breastfeeding classes, childbirth classes, both are very
And
important.
I think that what made it like a real big difference that we were very confident parents. Like we knew what we wanted, and it wasn't that if somebody is there, maybe they're misleading us, so we knew that yes, what's right for us. And somewhere we got lost out. Maybe we are not sure. We just give a call to her like.
Yeah, so we
Yeah.
means he. Because she was busy with the baby,
Yeah.
and he's been a part of that conversation that
Yeah.
says, okay, now I have 3 questions for you. You remember the conversations, and then, so I just find that he was really part of it, and what would you say you take away from our
I think
interaction?
it streamlined information for us very well.
Considering that you were overwhelmed
Yes,
with what was
because
coming.
we were overwhelmed when before we came to the class of information, and of course a lot of that information was useful, a lot of it wasn't. But attending your classes have kind of streamlined it for us. It set aside a lot of fears that we had initially before we attended your classes, and small things that you spoke about, and such as the birthing plan as well, and the fact that we were at Phoenix with Dr. Rushid made things a lot easier for us so far.
Right. So you think that you're going to be a hands-on dad?
Oh, absolutely.
You're looking forward to that?
Absolutely.
I really hope so.
Very common emotions that people feel when they're expecting a child is fear.
Because you don't know
I
what's
mean,
going
is
to
it
come
like
next.
you're giving birth to life? It's something that I don't know, I'm just asking.
There are a few things, of course. The first thing is for the mother about the whole labor and how people make a big deal out of it. That oh my God, it's going to happen, it's going to be painful, and other people's experiences obviously change everything. Second thing is that you're scared. You're bringing a life into this world, and you're just really scared that how you're going to bring it up, and if you're going to be okay, if you're going to be good parents. But after I did the class, in fact, before I started the birthing class, I told her that I was resisting watching videos of labor and childbirth because I didn't want to see it right now. But after the class, she told at the beginning of the class, she told me that I'm telling you, you'll feel differently. And after 4 hours, I did feel differently because I had a lot of streamlined information about the stuff that mattered and blocked all the other things.
Fear is always that comes when something is unknown. When you don't know about anything, it's always fear. And once you get confidence, once you get that education about the whole thing, how is it gonna be? See, experience, you will never feel it unless you jump into the pool. You can't. But if you are trained before that this will happen, this is how you have to behave, this is how you have to, work yourself out. So then that fear dilutes. So that's what this whole picture about fear that comes to it and how we can dilute it further.
She's a champion naturally. I have to tell you.
Yeah, that's
The
great.
fearless was so bad. I mean, so
So
we were dating for a long time. We dated like 10 years before we got married. I was still scared before I got married.
Yeah, exactly. You're still like, oh my
He
God,
was
I
just
can't
baby
wait.
we got over for 9 months and bringing him the world.
So we quite like go with the flow,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
so we don't even want to think about labor anymore and all the other things. So
That's great.
So here's the thing about fear. Like our brains are designed at a primal level of survival to look out for fear, for threat. And fear has a stronger reaction in our body than normal functions are. You'll find that when you feel threatened or you feel frightened, all your systems jump up immediately. Your heartbeat increases, the blood flow is changing. It happens instantaneously. And then your brain also has the capacity to hold on to negatives because you're constantly scanning for safety. But the reversal is not equally quick. So fear has a large part, and there's a mechanism to fear that it mobilizes you to survive and then it paralyzes you. So when you're in an informational dump with everything coming from everywhere and most of it negative, most people get a little bit paralyzed around birth and parenting. And I think that's the role the fear plays actually. And the minute you slow it down, you explain it, you provide resources, that threat diminishes. And that's what helps. Does that answer it?
Yeah.
Okay, should I ask a question relating to the father being involved? So is it that this society now, because there's so much stress on how like a father must get involved, right? Or maybe it's your classes, is that something that kind of encourage you to get involved, or you innately feel that? Like, is it something that you're doing to help your wife, or do you actually feel like, you actually feel that connection with the baby and hence you want to sort of get involved, help?
Well, I'll have to be candid about that.
Yeah.
So for now, it's being supportive to the wife because sure we have the baby and of course there's an emotional connect with the baby now that we're almost there. It's been a long journey for us as well. But so far it's primarily been to support the wife, and I'm guessing that would change and it would just increase once the baby is there. But as a father, of course, I see the baby there, but I don't feel it as much as she does because the baby is with her 24/7 right now, and I just see the belly growing, and I know there's something that we're creating which is inside. So that's pretty much it for the time being.
In my case, it started being supportive, but later on I felt I want to deliver the baby somehow. Seriously, I felt like यार मुझे करना है, I want to do it. It's so much normal.
Like, I want to add on in the family, he was giving too much of education to everybody. Like, everybody said, okay, now what next step, Anshul, can you please educate us? So, like, everybody was really surprised. Like, how can a father be so involved, and how much information he knows, Everybody, it was a real change in the family, which I think nobody in our family as of now, a father has been that involved in pregnancy, and even now for that matter, I think I'm not still allowed to do so many things because without his permission. So it's like, it's that way. And I think it makes a lot of difference if you're involved father in pregnancy. After the baby is born, they definitely play a very, very active role.
I will also add is that everybody's an individual, and having said that, there is certain amount of social programming. It starts really early. You're a boy, don't do this. You're a girl, don't do this. Don't play with dolls, don't play with cars. And it is pervasive through our society. And we've been assigned gender roles. And sometimes we just need somebody to say, well, you know what? How about for the space of this class or space of this interaction, let's relax that and see how you feel. And then each person can then begin to express. So I was saying in my class that people say that they're mostly captive audience. And I'm hoping that after the first session, they are captivated so that they come back on their own. So, everybody has their own way of assimilating and programming. We can't really say where each one is and won't judge it.
So I have a question for you, Divya. If you think that a father is more involved during the pregnancy, when the baby actually is born, does he feel a greater connect to the father? Because a lot of times it takes a while for the father to actually generate a bond with the child.
So if fathers are connected with the baby upwardly. What does that really mean? What is a connection? So we are saying that the father is beginning to imagine the baby as a person in his own right and has a direct relationship. And there's a manifestation of that relationship saying that when somebody is talking and when somebody is talking to you, we have the, even if you're asleep, you have the sense of it. So when the father talks to the baby as a person, as a direct relationship, the baby understands that. And we know that babies have memories from utero. So when they are born and the father speaks, they look up. Even if they're not being directly involved or very intensely involved, babies come out looking for their father and mother's voice. And you'll find that even at newborn, when the father talks or the mother talks, they turn their head and they look towards it. What does it mean for me if the baby comes and actually recognizes me, maybe by verbal communication? Something changes in me saying, oh yeah, we have a connection. So fathers who are involved right from the beginning will find a very simple transition or easing into the person because the person has always been there. Versus the huge emotional overwhelm of saying, oh my God, that's my baby. And contrasting that to saying, oh, here you are. There's a difference. Like the baby has just arrived in their head versus he's always been there and now we're meeting him. We were waiting to meet you and you're back home and now we're meeting you. Yes, we find that fathers who are involved in pregnancy, fathers who are involved in birth, spend far more time in the first 3 months. And that's a really difficult time because the baby's really not doing anything. It's very subtle, the communication. So we find that they're far more involved and they evolve into a better relationship later.
I have a question for the moms. Do you find that your husbands have eventually become partners in your pregnancy more than, like, say, your moms or your mom-in-laws? Because those are the natural people that usually when you're expecting, you go to, right? You go to either your own mother or you go to your grandmother or basically the women in the family. Do you find that this is a supplementation, or do you think that they've literally replaced their roles in your, if you have the support of like your spouse?
Anshul was very, very supportive, and not only being supportive, because he's been part of me and my conversations with everything and with the baby and anything. He was very, very close. So I think nobody else I looked up to, like, apart from him. Yeah, of course you seek advice from your mums and mums-in-laws because they are more experienced and they have delivered the babies and they know what have they felt, and that kind of a relation you could feel. But yes, because see, every time it's different, every age is different. The way they have delivered the babies is very different now how we deliver the baby. So kind of even especially with the childbirth classes that we have attended, I felt we are more connected because he was more involved, he was more aware, he wanted to be more participative. I think, yeah, he's played a real important role, and in my labor also, he was there very close. Pat on his back.
Yeah. I don't think it's a supplemental role per se. It's basically, I mean, we created this, right? So I expect him to be there for everything. so that's what it is. But of course, we seek advice from everyone around. And mom, sister, everyone, of course. But by the end of it, it is us who have to do a lot of things. So I think it is not a supplementary role. He's it's not like, yeah, it's his baby. It's not like it's like a given. He has to be there.
I'm going to take that question and expand it a little bit. We're talking about a culture where there were joint families. Women were married really young. Girls were married young. The hierarchy was there. And the husbands were older, and it was not acceptable, or it wasn't the norm to have a conversation with your husband or call him by his name or have an emotional anchor there. Your emotional anchors were with your mother, your sister, your bhabhi, people you grew up with, because you were young and there was a really rigid system in place. And so at that time we would send the young girl who was pregnant to her mother's house because that was her emotional anchor. If we look around, our emotional anchors are our spouses now. We don't share that much of our lives with our mothers as we do with our partners, in both ways. So it's only natural that this part, also we want them to be the center of that that whole story being played out, considering it's also their children. I mean, it was unheard of 2 generations ago that my grandmother would actually talk to her husband about a gynae issue. But I wouldn't blink twice before speaking to my husband about the most intimate thing. This is a continuation of that, and that's how I see it. How men see it, still a little bit, because they're still trying to strike those 2 words. They're modern, but there's also this programming saying, what's your role in this? And my husband once turned around and said, well, whose role do you think it is? It is happening. So it's that kind of a conversation.
I think it's the whole education also that's bringing a lot of difference.
There is.
And today also, if you look at our driver, he's expecting now. And if I ask him today, what is your wife's due date? He doesn't know. He's like, I don't go and meet the guy.
It is the education as well. And
it's the culture.
Now we've been brought up that
so they
men and women are equal.
It's my Bhavi and my wife, they go to the doctor, I sit outside.
Women's business.
Yeah.
It's a casual thing.
He was so surprised. He's like, how can you do this?
No, back in the day, women did work as much either, so it was just considered that bringing up baby is a woman's job, and the husband's job is to earn bread and work, right?
But nowadays, women are working as much as men.
She's 39 weeks pregnant and she's still working. She was working in the morning before we came here, so things haven't really changed. I mean, things have changed considerably. So I feel both partners are equally involved in both spheres of life. Are you working outside of home, and you're both equally involved in bringing up the child as well.
Okay, that's a good answer to my question. I'm just gonna ask both of you couples to describe your pregnancy in 3 words, like each of you. Like, what are the 3 words to describe the emotions? It could be negative, positive, or neutral, whatever you feel.
Why don't you start?
Really think of the
Oh, you think
I think we spontaneous.
Eye opener.
Yeah.
Okay. Exciting.
Of course.
And third. Quite learning.
I think it was really magical. It was like really magical how this whole thing is working in your body. And the second thing was, it was very explorative. Like we were constantly knowing new things. And the third thing was, it was very emotional for me. Like the whole part that I'm going to be mother was very overwhelming.
Did it bring the 2 of you closer in terms of like emotional, like an emotional connect, to be able to like literally, it's like growing something together from scratch, so you become like,
Yes,
partners in
partners in crime. No.
creation or whatever.
Yes, partners in creation. It did make a difference. We have changed our angles also. Now, usually my arguments are, "Acha chalo, aapki baat hi maan lete hain." Earlier it was, "No, it's me who's saying this." You have to understand. But now it has changed.
They've gone from a me to a we.
Yeah.
We the parents.
And I think after like our child is born, we are like everything is angled around her. Like, okay, now let it be. Let's think about her now. Forget it. What we think doesn't really matter.
Yeah, it's been very exciting, of course. And it's been fun as well because we haven't really stopped doing what we were doing apart from traveling, of course.
That's the only thing that's not doing.
Yeah, so it's been fun. And of course, it has really changed the way our connection has gone to another level. Like, we were dating so long.
I thought it was already
So I just think it's and of course we're looking forward to what is going to come and how we're going to actually. Yeah.
She feels another level.
I know, right? I want some of that as well.
You will. If you hold the baby skin to skin,
Yeah.
you'll get some of that.
I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, so really looking forward to the next chapter.
Oh, okay. So it's been, of course, exciting for us because it's been different. And I think to begin with, we were very, very fearful when it happened, and we had no clue whether this is something we'd be able to deal with it how we would deal with the 9 months as well. Not just what comes after those 9 months, but I think so. It's been exciting. It's been like an adventure almost for us because we were a couple who would travel every 2 months. We were taking.
And we took our sweet time, not because of anything else.
Yeah.
We were just like, we want to, spend time with each other. 10 years were not enough. So,
so that, and now we're just really excited to see that newborn baby come anytime. So
Congratulations. Wish you all the luck.
Thanks. We need it.
I don't think you guys seem fairly confident and yeah, I'm sure it will be great. Thank you all for coming and being a part of it.
Thank you for coming so much.
Thank you.
And it's a wrap. We'll go to say that.